Alright, welcome back to part 2 of the pocket door installation. As you can see, since the last video, I already put up the drywall. You want to be sure and use 1-inch screws here so the screws don't go through to the opening where the door slides into. But got that drywall installed and painted, so we're ready to move on to the next step of finishing up this pocket door. I'm going to go ahead and install the actual pocket door itself in here on the rollers, and then we'll be ready to trim this out. So let's grab the door and put it in. Alright, so the door is in place, gliding nice and smooth. I can see on this edge it's exactly the same gap all the way down. It would be completely flush, but there's a screw that's sticking out a little bit here that's holding the door off. And then the bottom stud on the wall here is sticking out just a little bit. So I need to take both those things into account when I put in my trim, which will be one of the first things I'll do. I'm gonna put a flat piece here, and then I'm gonna trim out each side of the door here with a 1/2-inch piece down each side. So we'll do both sides first, and then we'll do the top last. And this will just be another 1/2-inch piece that'll cover up this gap up here and make that look nice. So let's go ahead and take a look at our trim. The boards I'm going to use, I have this piece of jam, as it's called, and it's about 4 5/8 wide and about 5/8 of an inch thick. So it's already pre-finished. It's got nice round corners, which look nice. Much better job than I could just do on my own with the tools I have. So the first thing I'm going to do is notch out the bottom for the tile there. So the left-hand side there goes all the way down to the subfloor. And what I'm going to do with the threshold here, it should look pretty neat. And I'll mark on the back side for these 2 screws and cut this down to length. And this should fit right in there nicely, be a nice clean look. Now for the other side where I'm doing the 1/2-inch pieces, the exact same width as this on each side. I'm just using a piece of base, and because this the right thickness already, so I'll just rib this down on the table saw to the correct width, and I'll put those pieces on here, just like that. And should be pretty easy. So on this side, I'll come right up here to the top. And then on this side, I'll probably come right up just on the back side of these pieces here on the top, so it goes right inside there like that. Alright, so I've got my pieces of trim cut here. Already got this piece in place. This the next day because my air compressor broke, had to get that fixed. But now I'm ready to put this in. I'm gonna put a piece of cardboard under here just because I want a little bit of space. It makes it a lot easier when you're trying to paint if your trim isn't all the way against your tile or whatever surface you have here, wood floors. So if I put a little bit of space under there, then when I'm painting I can just slide a piece of paper under there to protect the floor. And then I just want to make sure this is lined up right on the wall, which it looks like it is. And I'll just pop some nails in there. Another piece of trim. I'll put in here. And again, I'll add a little bit of space down there at the floor. And then I'm going to move this over just so it lines up with the inside edge of my pocket door trim. So I'll just slide this over just like that. And I'll nail this in place. So let's do that now. And again, I'm going to do this piece up here last. Okay, so we've got the both sides nailed in. So now what I'm going to do is pre-drill my top piece. We'll put it up here just like this. And then go ahead and pre-drill all the way through and through the piece here. And then I'm going to screw this in with 3 screws. I'm going to use these finished screws. It's got a little small square drive head on it. So I screw it in with these, and then I'll just paint over this. That way I can take this piece back out in the future, and then my door trim here I'll nail into this, but then I'll do a couple of screws, maybe 3 screws in this as well. So I take these screws out under here, and then this whole thing will come out as one piece, and that way I can still access my track up here. And I'll do the same thing on the back side, because it will be helpful if I need to take the door out to get this top trim off to allow the door to come out without having this interfere with that movement. So let's get it done. All right, so I've got all my trim in place around the pocket door and across the top, and of course the side piece here and the jamb there. And then the next thing I want to do is start the trim around the outside. So what I want to do is come in, and as you can see, this corner isn't very good. The pocket door frame was kind of tilted a little bit, so this piece sat at an angle. I didn't fix that ahead of time. I could have put some type of little angled shim in there, but I didn't, so there is a little gap, but I'll put some caulk in there and that'll be fine. So I want to, let me zoom in. I want to come in from this edge about 3/16 of an inch, maybe about that far. Right there where that point is, and the same thing on the top. Right there, 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch would be a little bit much, but 3/16 is about perfect. And come on across this way and this way. So where these 2 lines meet, that's where my corner is going to be for the trim here. So you just take your door trim, and again I've got a little piece of cardboard at the bottom for this to sit on. So right there is where I'm going to make my mark on this. And then I'm just going to put a mark here so I know which way I'm cutting. That when I'm going to go outside, I already know what I'm doing. So then I'll do the same thing for the other side. I can go ahead and measure for or mark for my top piece as well, once both of these side pieces are marked. All right, so for the top piece, you have to take into consideration that you are cutting an angle on both ends, 45 degrees. Sorry, I gotta get these other boards out of the way. So as you can see on the bottom, I've got a mark right here, and that's about 2.5 inches in. This board is about 2 1/4 inches wide. So I just went ahead and came in about 2.5 inches and put a mark. So that's what I'm gonna line up right there on my mark here. So I'll line that up there, and then I'll just put a mark on the other end where I'm going to make my cut. Put a mark on the other end right there, and then I just drew a little line to remind myself which way I'm cutting it. And that's it. So now all 3 of these pieces are ready to be cut. And I'll go outside and do that. Actually, I'll go ahead and mark the other 3 pieces for the inside of the door. I'll go cut them all at the same time and bring them all back in. Alright, so I've got all my pieces cut. Looks good right here at my mark. So my gun I'm using has 2-inch staples, so I can see it's going to be close, and if that's countersunk at all, it could stick through. The door, can't really swing all the way over to the edge there, especially once I get the little gliders down at the bottom. But I'm just going to switch to a 1.5-inch staple. Luckily, this gun takes both sizes. So I'll switch to a 1.5-inch staple, and it's only going to come to maybe like right in there. So it'll be very, very safe for me to use those. So I'm ready to staple these up. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so I've got this piece tacked in, top to bottom. This side I just have two staples, one here, one down at the bottom. The top is not stapled yet. And I've just set my top piece up here into place. So I'm gonna line up this side, and we'll go over here and just move this over to make sure it fits perfectly. And it's perfect on both sides. Which that looks pretty darn good. And then I'm just gonna hold this side trim in place here. And then I will grab my stapler and lock this down. All right, so I've got this in place. Sorry I didn't record this. So now the top, I don't think I have quite enough room to drive a staple in here and get into this board, which is what I was planning on doing, getting into this trim piece. So I'm actually just gonna screw this to the wall, and it won't be attached to this under here. So I'm gonna do 3 screws, probably here, here, and then maybe over here. And that'll hold this in place, and I won't fill those, the screw heads. I'll just, I might put some caulk on them or something that I can remove if I need to remove this trim. Screws should hold it fine. And again, I'll put some caulk on here so you won't be able to really see that it's not nailed like the other boards. And then once I go over and paint everything, it'll look nice. So you have to keep in mind that you fit your track in here, so you can't use a big 2-inch long screw. I'm just gonna use 1 1/4 drywall screws, and I'll probably go into this board that sits up here, part of the pocket door frame, which will put my screw head. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. It might be right in this on this line here. I don't want to do that. But I've got another piece of wood above that. I'm just gonna pre-drill this and just go right into this flat section here with the screw there. One down on this end and one on this end, and that should hold this just fine. Alright, so these are pretty much flush, maybe just under the surface there. So I should be able to go over that maybe with some drywall mud and just paint over it. You won't even be able to see it. So do that on all 3. And then if I ever need to take this off, I should be able to see where these little patch spots were and just knock the drywall mud out of there and just take the screw out. And I'll do the same thing under here. All right, we're pretty much done now. Went ahead and caulked. We come up with some white silicone caulk. caulk all of these joints on this side as well. And then you'll go over all this with a final coat of white high gloss paint. And it'll just make it look really nice and clean. You can see here where I went over the screw head there. You can still barely see it, and I want to have that way if I do need to take this off, I can see what the screws are. So, but it's almost invisible from a distance to see that screw. I'll put a link down below for this hardware. I think I got it on Amazon. I'm not an Amazon affiliate. It's not a paid sponsor, but I'll just put that link down there for your convenience. It's just a little cup like this, and it's got a little raised marks on it that catch in the door. So you just push it into the door hole, and that's it. And then this side I need to do a little bit more work on. It doesn't look that good. So it's a different style hardware than what the door is made for. So I just need to fill in these gaps on each side. But this flips out where you can grab the door when it's all the way open. And you can grab this, pull the door, and then this will go on this side. I'll still need to do a coat of paint on this side of the door. And this is done. So hope this was helpful if you're installing a pocket door and finishing it out. Please like and subscribe, leave any comments and questions below, and we'll see you next time. See ya.